All right, and welcome to the Planet X podcast. I'm Chris,
And I'm Mike.
and we don't have that much to talk about this week, so we're gonna try to keep it a little short, a little sweet. Talk about some weird shit, I guess. Um, the biggest thing for us in our wheelhouse this week, anyway, was Suicide Squad finally got released. Unfortunately, neither one of us have had a chance to see it yet, so we're bad geeks and nerds and all that.
I will at least say that I went online. I had my gift cards in hand and was going to buy tickets. And the earlier shows that I was looking at were sold out. And then I had a couple other things to do. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get all this done today. And I'm like, the movie will be there. Maybe we'll talk about it on a podcast next week.
Yeah. And I had a ridiculously awful work week, and I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay on the couch and drink beer all weekend. And that's what I did. But, so we're not going to give you a review. We haven't really seen anything of it. And reviews don't really mean shit. That's kind of where we're going with this. This movie has gotten, and movie reviews, I don't really put too much stock in them. If it's something I want to see, I'm going to go see it, whether it's getting good reviews, bad reviews, indifferent reviews, whatever. But for some reason, Suicide Squad is not getting great critical reviews.
I'll be willing to say that most action movies, something like The Expendables, where I could watch all those dumb movies over and over and over again, stuff like that never gets a good review.
Yeah.
And, something's happened different now with these comic book movies that I don't know if they're trying, if the formula is to kind of be make more of an international film success. So it has a little bit of everything. It has action, it has drama, it has a tiny little romance in it. It's got a little, it's got everything but a dance number. And the only reason they don't do that is because it failed so hard in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. And some of what I was wondering with some of these bad reviews is some of it just superhero movie overload too, where we've had, since February, we've had Deadpool, we've had Captain America, we've had Batman, Superman, we've now got Suicide Squad. I'm sure I'm leaving something out.
The article that I read, without reading something without any spoilers in it and not giving out any spoilers now, it talked about how they were making one movie. The studio kind of said when Batman Superman didn't do as well as they had planned, it was like, oh, we got to change things. We don't have to, and it was, oh, we have to get away from this serious tone. It was funny because the article didn't say it, but I could kind of hear the studio saying, we need to make it more like Deadpool because Deadpool did real well.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like they tried to make it like Deadpool. They tried to make it like Guardians. And we even touched on it on the last show of the Justice League trailer, where now all of a sudden there's I don't even really know if it was a trailer or if it was just kind of like a teaser spot or whatever. But like there was comedy all over the place in that fucking thing.
Yeah. I think one of the things that failed from this movie, and when they announced this and they started talking about the cast, we're like, they're going to do a big villains movie before they do, when they only have like 2 heroes movies out?
Yeah.
Already? You didn't have established anything. Like, people are clamoring for a Loki movie because they loved that character.
Yeah, and they're setting up, however many villains.
Yeah. If 5 or 6 years ago, like if they had, before Thor came out, if they had said, we're going to make a Loki movie, we would all said, what the fuck are you thinking making a Loki movie? Who would care?
Who cares?
Banking on Harley Quinn for this. They got Will Smith to play. I mean, Deadshot is one of those characters that if you're a fan of comics, you kind of know. You know him from the comics. He's made enough appearances on the cartoon that, you know, a casual comics fan, Deadshot. But he's not, you know, a household name. Same thing like Killer Croc. You know, some of these people. But there's 2 or 3 people in, you know, 2 or 3 characters in this movie that I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
More recent characters, but it was definitely a tough pull for some of the characters that they were putting in this film. You know, what I started to say about the script with the change that they started doing rewrites and reshoots, that the movie came out kind of jumbled. 2 different films going on, which, you know, people can you can tell, you know, when it gets choppy like that, when it goes from being overly serious to silly, it doesn't flow.
Yeah.
Deadpool kept the tone correct, even in the more serious movies or serious moments of the movie. I kind of just feel, and we talked about this with other DC Warner Brothers comic products, like that Wonder Woman pilot that never aired. It really, I watched it. God, they said the Batman movies did real well. The Iron Man movies did real well. Let's make Wonder Woman like Batman and Iron Man.
I can see that.
And I mean, you haven't seen that.
No, I thankfully I haven't seen that. You know, that's one of the few piles of shit that I can honestly say I haven't seen and really don't want to. You know, but that just kind of that falls into, you know, whoever's doing these movies for DC and Warner Brothers. I'm going to put it kind of square on Warner Brothers because, you know, DC, it is their property. So I'm going to kind of maybe shift the blame off of DC a little bit, but it's like Warner Brothers just doesn't know what to do with anybody.
Well, I think it's that they don't know. It's not that they don't know what to do. It's that it's too many cooks ruining the soup.
Yeah.
That if you look at the Marvel movies, Stan Lee is a producer, Ari Arved is a producer, you know, the different guys that have been involved in the comics and in that comic world are there, you know, and their voice is heard. Yeah. You know, who's the publisher at DC now? Jim Lee. You know, does Jim Lee have any input into any of these movies, or is it just completely separate? You know, they're somebody at the studio, I'm sure they just kind of look at it. It's like, oh, we own this property. Like the same thing as if they owned a popular video game and we're going to crank out a movie about it. They don't, like, you know, we've talked about it before, you know, whether it be source material that they're not honest with, like Fox has had trouble with some of the things that they've done. And it just kind of seems Warner Brothers doesn't want to let the comic book characters stand on their own. You know, I was interested to see Will Smith play Deadshot, who is a relatively serious character with a dark, you know, it's a darker character for Will Smith to play. He's, I wouldn't necessarily say anti-hero, but in some of the things I've seen Deadshot, he's like a mercenary. He sends his money to a daughter, you know, that's off someplace in foster care or being cared for by some family member that's not him. I'm scratching my foot while I'm talking because I have an itch like you would believe. Scratching it with a pencil, so now I have pencil lines on my foot. But I felt like with some of these rehashes and rewrites that they did, they started letting Will Smith be the jolly, happy Will Smith again.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was a little afraid of.
You know, from those first couple trailers, it was, it was serious Will Smith. It was the Will Smith that gets nominated for an Oscar. And then when the rest of the trailers started coming right before it came out, you had Welcome to Earth Will Smith.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know what they were trying to go for there. And
I didn't want this to fail.
No, not at all. I think out of everything, out of everything that was coming down the line for Warner Brothers DC, this was the one I really was looking forward to, and I still am. Like, I'll definitely go see it. I don't know if I'm going to get to go see it in the next couple weekends because I'm a little packed, but I'm gonna try to get to see it at some point. And it's kind of disappointing that it's getting at least panned critically. The argument on the internet is always, is the same. It's that broken record we've been hearing since March. That the critics are paid off by Marvel and Disney and all that good stuff. Which leads me to the next part of this conversation, which I just thought was hysterical. Was some DC fan started a petition to shut down Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Do you think he thinks that Rotten Tomatoes writes all those reviews?
I think he does. He doesn't quite understand that, I don't think he quite understood that it's like, they take all the reviews ever from anybody that's written these reviews, and that's how they get their scoring for it. The petition is just brilliant because it's full of spelling errors, and it's just, you just can't take it seriously. It really just screams like angry dude in mom's basement typing away on a computer. Which can be fun, not saying that can't be fun. But the other thing that I find hysterical about it is that Warner Brothers at one point owned Rotten Tomatoes.
I did see a bunch of funny memes because they're like, oh, well, all the critics don't like DC movies. And then they're like showing all these positive reviews of some of the DC movies. And aside from Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman wasn't as good as it should have been.
Yeah.
Superman or Man of Steel wasn't as good as it should have been. They were going in a different direction that I don't think worked as well. I don't hate those movies, but I was disappointed in aspects of it. And film is a different art, I'd say. In a movie like this, in an action movie, I don't put much weight of reviewers' critique as much as I would if it was a drama, Oscar type of movie. When somebody's like the Oscar bait movies, when somebody takes on a serious role, then I kind of will look at the reviews and be like, it's fishing for an Oscar. A really solid film. That I put more weight in that than when they say, oh, this is just another bang 'em up, shoot 'em up popcorn movie.
Yeah.
I like a bang 'em up, shoot 'em up popcorn movie.
Yeah, sometimes you need to just be able to sit through something that's just not, you don't need to think too hard on.
And just from a critical standpoint, and this is without even seeing the movie, which, I'm not a fan of reviewing a movie without seeing it.
Yeah.
But I'll just say from the structure of the film and what I know about it is it doesn't have a hero.
Yeah, well, it's a bunch of villains.
It is. But, it's really the Dirty Dozen, but in a superhero movie.
Yeah.
But even the Dirty Dozen, you had somebody that was the the person you could get behind. And then even in other Suicide Squad stories that I've read or seen, somebody else has been there. Like Green Arrow was forced to join the Suicide Squad for some reason, where somebody's got to work with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think even if they just put a more minor hero, I'm not saying it needed Batman or Superman to be part of Suicide Squad, but if they had, and I wouldn't even say Flash or Green Lantern, I'm trying to think of a second tier Aztec. You know,
Yeah,
I'm pulling somebody out of my ass like that. You know, Hawk and Dove. Somebody just to be like, all right, here's the guy in the situation, and you can kind of see the good and the bad in these other characters, but they're still the villains, and you got to kind of let them be the villains. Again, I am putting my own interpretation on the film after just really seeing trailers and the little bit I've read about it. Definitely going to give it a shot. I think the last time I looked at Rotten Tomatoes for it, it was like a 26% critic review and a 74% fan positive review. Yeah. So that's hold on. Where'd it go? Nah, it's not working. It's Jason Bourne. Yeah. 2672 it's sitting at right now. 26 critic 72 user review on this is actually Flickster, I'm sorry. But you know, it's not good. Somebody from NPR gave it a positive review.
Yeah, I mean it's gotten some positive reviews, but you know, and I do chalk a lot of it up to I just think it being superhero movie overload, and I'm afraid to say that I'm even kind of hitting that point of like, you know, I'm excited for stuff that's going to start coming out, but I'm not. I'm kind of tired. You know?
Yeah, I can kind of agree with you.
You know, because I mean, going back to last week, you know, we saw the Doctor Strange trailer, and it was like, you know, I was like, all right, yeah, Doctor Strange looks okay. I don't know if I'm going to go see it. Because I just don't. I just kind of need a break.
You know, speaking of things, and I know you're not a big fan of the Disney live-action remakes, but I'm looking at the Pete's Dragon movie right now has 86% positive reviews.
And you know, I'm sure it's good. I don't hate the Disney live-action remakes. All of them. There's one I absolutely hate, and that's Maleficent. That was another one that I just was like, I love that's one. For me, that kind of falls into that Ghostbusters thing where it was like, I just love the original so much. I don't want my enjoyment of the original one to be any less by watching the new one. You know, not saying that the new one isn't going to be good or isn't good or what have you. But I don't have any interest in that one.
Yeah, I'm kind of, you know, I'm interested in it, but I don't necessarily need to run out and go see it. The box office wound up being did Suicide Squad do well?
Suicide Squad did well. I think it did 165 million dollars for the weekend. I know it had a stronger front, you know, but I don't know. You know, I don't know if that was any reflection on the movie or if just people wanted to stay home and watch gymnastics. I don't know because you know the Olympics started this weekend. So I don't know.
They,
I don't know. I don't know what the. I don't know the exact number for the weekend, but I know it's a decent number.
yeah, and it being opening weekend for the Olympics, it's that is a decent draw. Right now, I've really just been watching the Olympics to see if anybody gets bit by mosquitoes or anything and flips out.
Did you see? I haven't watched the video, but did you see the dude break his leg?
I did see that the guy broke his leg. I decided not to watch it.
Yeah, I decided not to watch that at all. Like, it showed up in my news feed on Facebook a couple times, and every time I hit block this post. I was like, I don't want to see this. Because I know at some point I'm just going to be sitting there on Saturday night and be drunk and be like, I'm going to watch. And then,
Yeah, I it
the
came
picture
up
I saw, his
times.
leg was bent in a way it shouldn't be bent.
Yeah. I saw it a couple times, and I started reaching for it to click on it. I'm like, I'll just watch it and see. And then I'm like,
I just don't have
see it.
I don't have the stomach for that kind of stuff.
I've seen it enough. It's tough, and it's
For me, watching injuries peaked with Eisman's leg. It's
yeah, kind of
Eisman's leg and Sid, and that was kind of that's kind of it. After Sid, I'm like, I can't watch this shit anymore.
And I think I'm looking at this one a little different too, because we're older and maybe a little. We're not.
We're older and more fragile.
Fragile, but we're also less like. I guess I'll chalk it up to like more caring of other people, than just be like, oh, did you see this guy's leg get broken? Or like now I feel like I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, that poor kid. He worked his whole life to get in the Olympics, and something like this happens. God damn it, this is a shame. It's a crying shame. God, I was a real old man about it over the weekend. I'm like, poor kid. And now he's gonna be famous as the guy that broke his leg.
That broke his leg at the Olympics.
He's the agony of
he's
defeat
the new agony
guy.
of defeat guy. Agony of defeat.
The leg. Oh, we cut it head.
Wow. We went there.
Hey now.
We really went there.
Try to veal.
Don't forget to tip your servers.
Ew.
Anywho,
did you see it was the first gold medal that America won over the weekend.
I saw that. And if there is one sport at the Olympics we should excel at these days, it's shooting.
That's what I felt like the rest of the world went, duh. Like every British comedian went, well, of course they'd win it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it was the girl that won, 19 years old, college kid, real enthusiastic. She had a great interview, nice personality. It was like one of those good for her things. I'm kind of enjoying that part of the Olympics. Like, I could care less really about the U.S. men's basketball team, how they're going to beat the balls off of everybody
pretty much
in basketball. And I always enjoy the Olympics for the odd sports. Like, I was watching, I wasn't watching shooting. I was watching archery, team archery. Team archery. There was like 3 guys and they take turns.
Oh, okay.
So it's like one guy goes. I was watching. I think almost it was China versus Australia, and it was like a guy from China goes, shoots at a target. Australia goes, shoots at a target. Guy from China goes, shoots at the same target as the other Chinese guy. Guy from Australia shoots at and then they kind of keep, and then they compile the scores. And it's almost like I guess like darts or like. And it's like game match set type of things, where you do a round and you win that round and then you win another round, and then it's however many rounds you win. as opposed to, like, I guess, total score per
Okay.
arrow. And the announcers for archery are very much like golf announcers. Because I guess you're not screaming while people are shooting arrows.
Yeah.
But people were up in the stands for one of the archery events with umbrellas that were targets.
That's fantastic.
I guess if you're in the competitive archery world, that's one of those clever things that you get. Another sport that I was watching that's one of those things that you never see anywhere but the Olympics was handball. And whenever I hear the word handball, I always think of like two old Jews in Brooklyn playing, with a Spalding bouncing it off a wall someplace. That handball, or a couple of gangsters talking about mob stuff in a movie. Racquetball without a racket, handball.
Yeah.
But this is actually closer to. It's like a cross between basketball and soccer, where they run around with a ball that they can hold in their hand, and they're trying to like whip it into like the kind of soccer goals that you'd like you had in gym class.
Okay.
And there's some kind of there's like a key and paint like a basketball court that it looked like only certain people were allowed in there.
Okay.
I'm watching handball. Women's volleyball. I was watching some of that. That's volleyball is a fun sport. It's pretty easy to follow. Women's volleyball, especially the beach volleyball, is usually a good visual sport for television, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I'm sure on the other side of the coin, if you're interested in men's beach volleyball is very good. You can check out some people on the beach.
Yeah.
I did watch some ping pong, some table tennis, as they call it in the Olympics. And I guess the American team, we have a girl who immigrated, I think it was, to America, and she's playing ping pong. I forget what her name was, but she's like calling herself Jennifer now that she's in America. But they did one of those little get to know her pieces type of thing. And apparently, I guess she lives in the New York area, and somehow she befriended Judah Freelander from 30 Rock.
Okay.
The stand-up comedian. And they did it, and they're showing this video package of her and Judah Freelander playing ping pong and talking, and Judah Freelander, they have some kind of friendship that kindled somewhere. Just said it was like a Tina Fey movie in the works. So, some girl that immigrated from China to play ping pong for America and befriended a weird stand-up comic.
Yeah, that makes yeah.
But then I was laughing. Well, this girl actually she played very well, and she upset a higher ranked player, a player ranked 40, 45 positions higher than her in the Olympics. So I don't know how far she wound up getting, but she did beat somebody much higher than her after I watched this little video package about her. But then I saw her coach, and her coach looked like Woody Allen. And I'm like, it's a little Asian girl that immigrated over to America, and here's Woody Allen. It was one of those things that I'm watching it. Nobody else was home, and I called my dad. I'm like, you're not watching Olympic ping pong right now. I'm like, put it on. I'm like, just look at it. So he's like, I get it, and he was laughing. So I've had fun with a couple of days of the Olympics.
Nice. Yeah, I always enjoy the Olympics.
And I'm looking forward to the Olympic wrestling. I heard this year we sent John Cena and Brock Lesnar.
Nice. Did Brock pass the piss test?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
It depends on who you ask.
Okay. Did they send McGregor from UFC?
No, I don't think so.
That little midget.
Well, he's Irish.
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah. That little midget's looking to get himself stretched. But that's for another podcast.
Yes.
I guess since we're talking sports, and we're talking sports, and we had earlier in the show we had talked villains. Probably one of the biggest villains in the Major League Baseball steroid era. Announced his retirement, but he's playing until Friday, I guess. And
Well, they're giving him a farewell game.
I guess so. But Alex Rodriguez announced his retirement, and my attitude, and I'm a Yankee fan, and my attitude is, don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you.
And that seems to be opinion of it. But that is in typical the way Yankee fans treat a guy going out if he's not going out on top.
And I get that. As a Yankee fan, I get that, but I never liked A-Rod. Like, I never liked A-Rod when he was with Seattle. I never liked A-Rod when he was with Texas. The only thing I was happy about when the Yankees got him was that Boston didn't. That was the only thing I was happy about.
I briefly met Alex Rodriguez years ago, and he was a very antisocial kind of jerk.
Yeah, and he
still was Seattle.
He always projected that, and he came to the Yankees, and he was. There was Jeter, and I mean Jeter was, love him or hate him, Jeter was the golden boy of Major League Baseball. He really could do no wrong, and by all accounts is a really good dude. And A-Rod was just the anti that his entire career. He was just the anti that.
He kind of got cast in that role, I think, unfairly. To look at it. And this is when people, I've heard people say things, and it's a very typical thing for Yankee fans to be like, oh, he's not a true Yankee. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is true Yankee?
I don't even really know what true Yankee means, and I'm a Yankee fan.
People say true Yankee, and I'm like, all right, aside from Derek Jeter, name me a true Yankee. And I thought about it, and I'm like, the people they would put on that list are Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, Andy Pettitte, and Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get people that start talking about, like, oh, DiMaggio. And I'm like, you never saw DiMaggio play.
Yeah.
Talking to me about what type of Yankee Joe DiMaggio was. That's fucking, that was a million years ago. It might have well have been.
Yeah.
It's like telling me who's your favorite dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's you never saw. You don't know. You didn't live there. And I'm sure there were people that motherfucked Joe DiMaggio when he,
Oh, I'm sure.
He messed up. But Alex Rodriguez was a big, big star. He was Seattle. He was a big name in Texas. He was the biggest free agent in baseball at that point. Or whether it was going to be, whether it was a trade, I don't necessarily remember.
He signed with Texas as a free agent and signed that ridiculous $252 million contract.
That's right, and then Texas dealt him.
Texas dealt him to the Yankees.
Now, he went, and when he came to the Yankees, he went and played third base.
Yeah.
And Yankee fans hate when you say this. Alex Rodriguez was a better shortstop than Derek Jeter was.
He was.
Derek Jeter, he made all those diving, spinning catches that most good shortstops would have just made flat-footed.
Yeah.
He was he wasn't a bad shortstop, but he wasn't the best shortstop in baseball. He was a popular guy. He hit well. He played his position well. Alex Rodriguez was a better all-around player.
Oh, yeah.
But he had a demonized image, I guess, is kind of because he was, they needed to pit him against Derek Jeter, which is a Yankee thing that they pick. They used to say how, Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle hated each other. As in the movie 61, they talk about that. When they're like reading the paper, it says, Mantle picks up the paper and it's like, it says, each other, we're fighting. And Maris looks at me and is like, well, fuck you then, Dick.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah.
These guys, they're cashing a check, they're making money. People like to pretend that somebody's going to stay with the Yankees because of the prestige of staying with the Yankees. If the Yankees didn't dump a big pile of money on Bernie Williams when his contract came up and Derek Jeter when his contract came up, they would have went and played someplace else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if free agency was different back then and the money was better someplace else, Mickey Mantle would have been a Dodger
absolutely.
or I don't know who I'm trying to think of another team.
I won't ever fault. I as far as like, I mean, this is kind of a little off topic, but as far as like these contracts in sports go, I think the contracts these guys are getting are outrageous. But I don't fault any player for taking the money that these owners are offering. And I wouldn't fault, I wouldn't fault somebody for somebody for leaving to go play for better money.
Yeah, you got a finite amount of time to make that money. And Alex Rodriguez, when he did come to the Yankees, he came to go play for a team that was going to win. Because he was on those Seattle teams that got close. It didn't pan out. He went to Texas. He made a bunch of money. Texas didn't work out. And he was looking at the Red Sox. He was looking at the Yankees. And he wound up on the Yankees. And he did what he could to win. It's not like he was... He wasn't just lounging around. He did that stupid thing where he knocked the ball out of the guy's hand. When he slapped the in the ALCS. Trying to win a game. He might be trying to win a game like a douchebag, but he's trying to win.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. If you do stuff like that and lose, you're a jerk and a dick. But if you do that stuff and you win, you're Charlie Hustle. You're Pete Rose. You're It's that trade-off of the winner gets the right to history, the criticism about the steroids and the criticism about the attitude and the money. I mean, in my lifetime, that's kind of what a Yankee is. Reggie Jackson, the guys, Dave Winfield, Ricky Henderson, all those guys that came in and played, all those big names that came in and played for the Yankees, came in and made the money.
Yeah.
And, some of the biggest names in drugs in baseball, Ward of Pinstripes.
True.
Darryl Strawberry, Doc Gooden, Jose Canseco, Roger Clemens. And I'm sure there were guys that didn't get caught. Like, you remember Mel Hall?
Yeah.
Mel Hall played for the Yankees. And Mel Hall was, built like Bobby Lashley. He was a fucking jacked up dude. And that was the beginning of, hey, maybe people in baseball are doing steroids. And that's back when they weren't illegal in baseball yet.
Yeah.
They say...
That's one of those things. It's like, it's... the whole steroid thing, it's like, all right, yeah, these guys are doing this, but, everybody likes to watch, chicks dig the long ball. That was the whole, ESPN thing back in the late 90s when McGuire and Sosa were hitting all those home runs. And
the thing is, too, you can be big as shit and not necessarily hit up, but you still have to have the hand-eye coordination and the speed. Granted, the steroids help you with the speed. But, a lot of those guys said it was about recovery from injury.
Yeah.
And, the steroids now or the steroids in our era of baseball kind of took the place of the amphetamines that were in baseball in the 60s and the 70s and the coke in the 80s that got these guys up and going and kept them playing.
Yeah.
You know, you listen to some of these guys tell stories, there was crazy shit going on. And, you know, to go after Alex Rodriguez because he failed the piss test because he was taking some supplement so he could come back and play and help the team win money.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he was like, oh, I'm going to, you know, if he was doing it for anybody at that point, he was doing it for the team. You know, I'm sure there's the prestige. You know, he got close to the home run record. He was, you know, he's 6 home runs away from 700.
Yeah.
I'm sure his last game on Friday, the pitchers are going to serve him up at least one, so he has a final home run. And you know, I let him hit 6.
No. But
yeah, he get I don't like him, but I feel like he gets a bad rap. You know, to me, it's like, oh, he's a jerk. He's in it for the money. He's doing whatever it takes to win, even whether it's fair or not. That's what a Yankee is, in my opinion. That's what the Yankees have always been. You know, they're the bad guys. And, you know, I say it all the time. There's 2 types of people that like baseball. There's Yankee fans and there's baseball fans.
Yeah.
And I like watching it. I have teams that I like, and I like watching a good game of baseball. But I can't watch. You know, I hate going to Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
You know, I have since I was a kid. I went there when I did go to see Mark McGwire and Jose Canseco and those guys play when they were with Oakland in their heyday. And I'm getting attacked by. I was a kid and I was getting attacked by grown men.
And that's, you know, that's a shame because not all Yankee fans are like that. But, you know,
I know, but it's
kind of like it's like the rap that I give Philly fans. You know, but Philly fans deserve it.
Yeah, they're a whole different piece of shit.
But yeah, no.
You know, the thing is, Philly fans are raging pricks, but they never win anything.
Yeah. And
I mean, they win a World Series every 5 years in average. If you average it out through like the history of the team, you know, maybe now it's getting a little closer to like 4.5 years or 4 years.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, 6 years. You know, if you're going to go the other direction, you know, it's going to go the other direction a little bit. But most Yankee fans get to see the Yankees win a World Series at least once in their lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, if you go in the 40 years we've been alive, they've won 5 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
You know, if you're a Yankee fan and you can be like, oh, my team's won 5 World Series since I've been alive. A Cubs fan, people are going to Cubs games. You know, they have 3 generations that have come and gone, died, and none of them have seen the Cubs win a World Series.
Yeah.
I know people that had that they're it's a family that comes to where I play trivia, and the father of the family had passed away. They spread his ashes at Wrigley Field because he wanted to be there with the Cubs.
Yeah, well, I get that.
You know, nowadays you have most Yankee fans, they just want their ashes spread on Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Or maybe Donnie Baseball.
Maybe Donnie Baseball.
Don't get me started on Don Mattingly.
I won't get you started.
If Don Mattingly was a Brewer, he would be like a footnote. He would have been one of those guys that people would be like, oh, yeah, I remember he was good for like 3-4 years.
Yeah, Mattingly was good for a couple years, and then injuries just kind of took him out, and he just wasn't.
Yeah, and he was a good personality on a big team. Well for the guy. And I always say with Don Mattingly as a manager now, I want Don Mattingly to have success.
Yeah,
I
me too.
rooted against Don Mattingly for years and years and years. But now that he's with LA, I was like, I want Don Mattingly to win. Actually, I want Don Mattingly to win more World Series as a manager than any other manager ever. So he goes into the Hall of Fame as a Los Angeles Dodgers manager. Just to kind of rub it in on the Yankee fans. So who've been saying that Don Mattingly deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Is he not? He's not managing LA anymore, is he? I thought he was in Miami.
You know what? You're right.
I'm looking it up now.
You're right.
Yeah,
he got last year was last year or 2 years.
Yeah, he's the current manager of the Miami Marlins, which is still weird to say.
Yeah, yeah. I still say Florida Marlins. I still say Tampa Bay Devils.
Yeah.
I still fall into old habits.
Crying out loud, I still say the Houston Oilers at times.
Yeah, that'll slip out every once in a while. Did you see Ichiro got his 3,000th hit?
I saw that.
And did you see somebody from ESPN tweeted? I don't know if I'm more amazed with his 3,000th hit or that he hasn't learned to speak English yet in 15 years of living in America. Which, you know, the guy caught a lot of heat, I guess, on the internet for that being a racist tweet, which I don't necessarily see it as being, it's not racist. It might be a little, you know, culturally insensitive because I'm sure the guy, you know, still lives in Japan in the off season just because he works here. But it turns out Ichiro can speak English. He just doesn't, he chooses to speak to a translator when he's doing his interviews so he doesn't misspeak.
Yes, yes.
So this guy kind of looks like a jackass. You know, I'm not accusing him of being a racist for saying something like that. I think he kind of, you know, it was a joke that kind of didn't work out because everybody's like, oh, the dude speaks English, you know. When did we become a baseball show?
I don't know, but we're just reaching for shit to talk about.
That's entertainment. We talk about entertainment.
We talk about anything.
We're talking about the Olympics. This is our sports show.
This is our sports show.
Chris. Hey there, Mikey.
I hate Chris Russo so much, but I think the only person I hate more than Chris Russo is Mike Francesca.
I don't understand how you could say something like that because it's obvious that I am an excellent broadcaster. Derek Jeter is probably the greatest man to put on the pinstripes since Mickey Mantle. My favorite play of all time.
That's pretty good.
I love I love the Yankees.
That's pretty good.
Sorry, I dozed off for a second. I wasn't sleeping. No, I was just I was resting my eyes. That was wrong with you.
But on that note, how about 2 quick palate cleansers and then we'll get out of here.
Sure. Who knew I could do a Mike Francesa?
That was an awesome Mike Francesca impersonation. Francesca, whatever the fuck his name is. An actual, what could really be considered a palate cleanser in the world of soft drinks, I guess. And in the, I guess, everything that's old is new again category, for some ungodly reason, Pepsi just re-released Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that liked Crystal Pepsi.
I totally get the whole Ecto Cooler thing. Like, you know, I've never had Ecto Cooler ever. My sister loves it. Your younger brother loves it. I know people that are buying like cases of it. The Crystal Pepsi thing I don't get.
I definitely want to get some Ecto Cooler and pour some vodka or some gin in it or something.
Yeah.
You know, Crystal Pepsi, I remember trying Crystal Pepsi.
I took a swig of it before we went on air, and it was mundane.
I remember it having, like, in my mind, I remember it having, like, a lemon lime type of taste. And I always just equated that to it was like psychosomatic, that I imagined it tasted like that because
The lemon,
clear soft drink
is usually,
it's a 7-Up or a Sprite or something along those lines. But I didn't care one way or another. It was one of those like interesting gimmicks.
Yeah, it was. It's something that's, it was different. I don't remember it being around long.
Yeah, me neither. It's part of that cola war thing.
Yeah.
And people clamor for Crystal Pepsi, but nobody ever said like
bring back new Coke.
Bring back new Coke. Yes. And we should have known. We should have learned then, 30 years ago. Never accept a beverage from Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
That's what happens, America. You drink new Coke, wake up with your butt hurt.
Yeah, pretty much. But we can't end on that note either. We can't end up with drink new Coke, end up with your butt.
I was just gonna say, but in that whole Cola Wars thing, I mean, I guess if you held a gun to my head, if Nazis had your mom,
okay,
I would say I'm a Coke guy over Pepsi, but I don't really care. I buy what's on sale.
See, I'm a Pepsi guy. Like I'll drink. I won't drink Coke unless I'm like at a restaurant and I'm getting a soda. It's the thing that and I mean that's the thing. Like if I'm buying soda, I'm buying Pepsi. But when I go out to a restaurant and I'm going to get a soda, the thing that drives me crazy is I'll have a Coke. We only have Pepsi, or I'll have Pepsi. I'll have Diet Pepsi. We have Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's this. Yeah, that I'll have that. You don't need to say, well, we have Coke, we have Pepsi. You don't need I understand why, because I'll
have a Diet Cola.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'll go out and I
love it when let me have a Diet Coke, and they go, we have Diet Pepsi. Is that okay? And I'm and I'm like, who is not okay? I'm like, if you're drinking soda, are you really that fucking picky about it?
Yeah. It's you're drinking this crap that's rotting your insides, and you're gonna worry about what it is. So I drink when I drink soda, I drink diet soda, and I'm trying to cut it out completely. It's not working so well, but hey. But I'll go to a restaurant, and if I'm going to get a soda, I'll say I'll have a diet, and that way it kind of falls into that non-distinct category of either give me a Coke or give me a Pepsi.
Yeah, you don't got to get into that whole.
I don't have to get into the we only have Pepsi, whatever. Just
is that okay?
Is it wet? Is it
new
cold?
Generation.
Yeah. Is it wet? Is it cold? Is it going to kind of quench my thirst? Perfect. Bring it over. Bring it to the table.
I do have to say though that Coke really won on the the image of it's there's stuff people collect Coca-Cola stuff. I'm sure there's people that collect Pepsi stuff, but the Coke stuff if I ever got an old soda machine, I would love to have an old Coke machine.
Yeah,
because they just looked cool. I don't know. We got there from Crystal Pepsi, but I guess that's the whole part of the thing. Trying to find something that looks different and catches people's interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Crystal Pepsi was 20 years ago. There's a ton of people that have that don't remember Crystal Pepsi. Yeah,
and I don't think about. I hadn't thought about Crystal Pepsi in forever, and now it's everywhere. There's a bottle in my refrigerator. But the best palate cleanser, and what I want to end on is that on September 13th, we are finally getting the 30th anniversary Blu-ray of the Transformers movie. And this is not the Michael Bay, just giant robots that don't really look like anything Transformers movie. This is the 1986.
The original.
The original. And they cleaned it up for the Blu-ray. They've completely like redone the negatives, redone the color. It's gorgeous. From the trailer that I saw on it and the little featurette I saw on it, you're going to see things in that movie you didn't notice 30 years ago. And like, I'm excited that they're doing that they're going back and they cleaned it up and not just slapped it on a Blu-ray and said, here, what you saw 30 years ago is what you're getting.
Yeah, I'm excited that there's a remaster of it. There's a Blu-ray if you get some new special features, get that music video.
Yeah. Yes.
You got the touch.
The touch, yes.
I love that stupid soundtrack on that movie.
That is such a great soundtrack. And the Transformers theme by Lion.
Was it is really one of those most like 80s thing is like metal,
Yeah.
There's a band that does a song called Instruments of Destruction that plays when the Destructicons and Devastator are doing something. And I'm like, what a fucking kick-ass 80s metal
really
song.
Is a kick-ass song. It comes on my iPod. I'm like, this is a good fucking tune. Granted, it was when a lot of my childhood died, but hey,
Yeah, it's definitely, and that's a movie that taught people a lot. Taught us about loss.
It really did, because and it was one of the the movie came out and they did a lot of that because they had a new bunch of toys coming in, so they had to make room. But like, they killed everybody.
And and it's not even like one of those things like, oh, it's 20 years later, and these people, these kids grew up with this now, and we're making it adult. They made it adult for us. They like turned us all into men that lost somebody in the war.
Did. When Megatron kills Ironhide, with the comment, such heroic nonsense, and then blows a hole through him. It's just like, oh my God.
Speaking of this with generational things, there's a episode of Teen Titans Go.
Okay.
That's a loving homage to like all things 80s. That they do it's very much like Heavy Metal, the movie. It has that type of imagery in it. It's got like eagles, and there's a song. There's I'm not going to remember if it's a real song or they just tried to make something sound like an 80s type of epic metal type of thing.
Okay.
But they do this whole Cyborg is obsessed with this song and everything he does. And then all the other Titans get captured and he has to go save them. And he's like listening to this song and he's like riding a motorcycle and there's like an eagle flying behind him and he might have a guitar strapped to his or a sword or something like that. Nice. It is, he's got like he might have like a Mad Max Road Warrior type of jacket on, spikes and things like that. And then at one point the bad guys, they blow him up on a motorcycle, they blow up his stuff. And they're like, Cyborg, are you all right? And he's like, don't call me Cyborg. Call me Cyborgimus Prime. And he transforms into the truck and he starts running stuff over.
Nice.
And when he's fighting this stuff, he goes, one shall stand, one shall fall.
Nice.
So they do, the whole thing. So my nephew loves that episode and can recite like the whole thing. The reason why I know it so well is because he recites it to me the whole time. But this kid who is 9 goes to me, one shall stand. And I look at him and I go, one shall fall. And he's like, how did you know that? I'm like, we're going to have to watch a movie, buddy.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, do I need to get him to watch like the whole first 2 seasons of Transformers? And then we'll watch the movie. And then I'm like, do I do that to him that he, we spend the time, invest the time, watch all these things?
Yeah, invest the time, because that's the only way he's going to fully appreciate that movie.
That 1986 Transformers movie is the second best Judd Nelson movie, too.
Yeah. And it had it had a great voice cast, too.
I was going to say, it's probably the second best Leonard Nimoy movie.
Yeah, yeah. Orson Welles is Unicron.
Orson Welles, the last Orson Welles film.
Yeah. Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron. Judd Nelson was Hot Rod, right? Or was he Ultra Magnus?
Yeah, Judd Nelson was Robert Stack was Ultra.
That's right.
And he curses. The one time a Transformers gun runs out of bullets, and he's like, shit!
Yeah.
Or damn, or something like that. I forget what it was.
I think Spike says shit or something.
Spike says shit when their ship's going to crash.
Yes.
They're Now that's an adult situation.
That is an adult situation.
Well, when that's out on Blu-ray, we'll definitely have to do an official viewing.
Yes, yes.
And watch us some Transformers 1986.
Maybe we'll get together and do a movie and a mole night. Or a mole and a movie night or whatever.
Yes. Indeed.
So
now I'm going to be sad about Optimus Prime dying.
Me too. But he comes back.
He does come back, but still.
But that movie changed the course of the G.I. Joe movie.
Yes, because then they didn't kill Duke.
They didn't kill Duke
time
because they killed Optimus Prime, and kids were just so horrified that Optimus died, and they were going to kill Duke in the G.I. Joe movie. They had to recut it so Duke doesn't die. I don't know if I would have been so upset over Duke as I was as Optimus Prime.
I don't think I would have been okay with either of them.
I don't really know if I would have been okay with either of them, but I think, I don't know.
I wasn't okay with Starscream dying.
Yeah, no, I really wasn't okay with Starscream dying either. Or Wheeljack, or Ironhide, or Ratchet, or Prowl, or Cliffjumper.
Any of those guys. We got a bunch of bullshit.
Now I'm sad.
Bullshit Transformers after that.
That was supposed to be a palate cleanser, damn it. But anyway.
Well, you know what? You should... There's only one way to end this conversation.
Okay.
Stan Bush, you got the
Absolutely,
touch.
absolutely. And I'm going on record saying anytime I do something amazing in my life, if I ever do anything amazing in my life, I want that fucking song to play.
My two favorite parts of Boogie Nights that don't involve boobs. When he's singing You Got the Touch poorly for his record, and when they're selling when what's his name is selling the stereos, and K421 attachment on it.
Nice.
So it's a movie about porn that makes a Star Wars reference and a Transformers the movie reference. And then Marky Mark was in Transformers.
Wow. He was.
All right, now play You Got the Touch.
All right. On that note, we're getting out of here. So you know where to find us. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. You can check us out on Facebook at the Channel Z Podcasts. Check us out on WordPress at Channel Z Podcasts. We're at channelzpodcast.wordpress.com. Hot tag coming at some point whenever we get around to it. So anyway, I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
And we'll see you next week.
You got the touch.
You've got the power.